Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gusheen Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 40 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. First up, from the United States, President Donald Trump has paused all military aid to Ukraine. It comes after his meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, which ended in a shouting match. Trump wants Ukraine to show commitment to peace talks before it gets more weapons. The decision could weaken Ukraine's defense in its war against Russia. In West Asia, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a scathing warning to Hamas. He said Hamas must release the remaining hostages, else there will be consequences of unimaginable proportions. Netanyahu's comments come after the introduction of the new Gaza truce plan, which is reportedly different from one agreed upon in January 2025. Reports say the new plan has no mention of the return of Palestinian prisoners from Israel. Hamas claims Israel is pushing things back to square one. Israeli fire in southern Gaza's Rafah killed at least 2 Palestinians yesterday. At least 3 others were also wounded in Khan Yunis. The Gaza ceasefire, which was agreed upon in January, has already expired. Israel has stopped entry of all humanitarian aid into the besieged strip. In Germany, a car ran into a crowd in the city of Mannheim, killing at least 2 people. Several others have been injured in the incident. The attacker shot himself as he was being arrested. Police say they found concrete evidence that the suspect has mental health problems. Pope Francis experienced 2 episodes of acute respiratory insufficiency. This was due to severe buildup of mucus, which required immediate medical intervention. This is according to a statement from the Holy See Press Office. Doctors performed 2 bronchoscopies to remove large secretions and later removed a non-invasive mechanical ventilation to assist his breathing. A devastating crash in southern Bolivia claimed at least 15 lives. This is after a truck collided with a bus, pushing it off the road into a ravine. 19 injured passengers were rushed to a local hospital. The truck driver has been arrested and the investigators are working to determine the cause of the crash. SpaceX has cancelled the latest flight of the Starship rocket. The Elon Musk-led company said there was an issue on the rocket system's core ship. It was supposed to be SpaceX's 8th orbital mission. The company posted on X that they are figuring out the next possible launch. A Philippines fighter jet with 2 crew members went missing during a nighttime operation. The FA-50 plane lost contact with other jets just minutes before reaching its target area. This is the first major incident involving the country's FA-50 fleet. A search operation to find the missing jet is underway. Kenyan police opened fire on refugees who were protesting food and water shortages. At least 4 people were injured by live bullets, according to reports. The protest in Kenya's Turkana County was triggered by aid cuts, mainly from the USAID. Refugees say living conditions have worsened, making it hard to get basic supplies. A new study published in Lancet warns that obesity rates worldwide are set to surge. More than half of all adults and 3 of children, teenagers and young adults are projected to be overweight or obese by 2050. Covering data from over 200 countries, the study highlights that obesity levels have been rising rapidly, especially in lower-income nations, and are expected to accelerate even further in the coming years. On to climate news. Japan is battling its largest forest fire in 30 years. They have deployed over 2,000 firefighters and 16 helicopters, including military aircraft, to contain the flames in Iwate Prefecture. The fire has spread across 2,100 hectares since Thursday. This has forced evacuation advisories for 4,600 residents and damaged at least 84 buildings. The blaze follows record low rainfall in Japan's hottest summer. Severe flooding struck Spain's Gran Canaria on Monday. It turned streets into rivers and swept vehicles into the sea. In the city of Telde, residents and emergency services worked together to clear the debris after floodwaters left streets coated in mud. The Spanish Meteorological Agency has issued a yellow alert. They are warning of heavy rainfall. Ireland could face up to $27 billion in EU penalties. This is if it fails to meet its 2030 greenhouse gas reduction targets. Fiscal and climate watchdog warns that implementing planned emission cuts could reduce this cost significantly. Under the EU's legally binding climate framework, countries that fail to meet targets must compensate by purchasing emission allowances from those exceeding their goals. After failing to reach an agreement in Busan last year, the UN has set a new round of negotiations for Global Plastics Treaty. It will begin from August 5 to 14 in Geneva. The key disagreements include limiting plastic production, regulating chemicals in plastic products, and securing financial aid for developing nations. Over 100 countries support capping plastic production. A new study warns that world's strongest ocean current, the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, could slow by 20% due to the influx of fresh water from melting ice sheets. Scientists use supercomputer modeling to analyze the effects of climate change on ocean circulation. They have concluded that disruptions could lead to more extreme weather, accelerated global warming, and ecological shifts in Antarctica. On to business and tech news now. Bitcoin and Ether jumped more than 20% yesterday after President Donald Trump hinted at inclusion of cryptocurrencies in a new U.S. strategic reserve. Bitcoin was last at around $91,600 after hitting an all-time high of $105,000 earlier this year. U.S. President Donald Trump's new tariffs have come into effect starting today. Trump announced 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods. He said that the decision was to curb illegal immigration and the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Meanwhile, China has announced 10 to 15% hike in import levies from the U.S. It has also placed 25 American firms under export and investment restrictions. This after Trump announced sweeping 10% tariffs on all Chinese imports. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has announced an additional $100 billion investment in the U.S. The company announced 5 additional chip factories in the country. The announcement was made by its CEO, C.C. Wai, during a meeting with President Donald Trump. U.S. grocer Kroger has said that its CEO, Ronnie McMullen, has resigned. The resignation came after a board probe found that his personal conduct was inconsistent with a few company policies. The company clarified that the conduct did not pertain to financial performance, operations, or reporting. Tesla chair Robin Delhomme has sold stocks worth over $33 million. Delhomme sold close to 112,400 securities. She sold the same number of securities last month as well for about $43 million. This, as a court approval requires Denholm and other Tesla directors to return compensation over allegations of overpaying themselves. Switzerland-based Lindt has reported better than expected full-year operating profit. The chocolatier's earnings before interest and taxes stood at $870 million in 2024. The market expectations were set at $983 million. This as the company battles with historically high cocoa prices. Amazon Web Services will invest about $8.2 billion in West Indian state of Maharashtra over the next few years. This as the country has been stepping up efforts to pilot local cloud data storage. According to reports, India's cloud services market is estimated to grow from $8.3 billion in 2023 to $24.2 billion in 2028. Huawei unveiled its new tri-foldable phone, the Mate XT Ultimate. The company highlighted the flexible screen technology of the device. The phone was showcased at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Microchip Technology has said that it will reduce its workforce by 9% by cutting around 2,000 jobs. This as the chip maker is trying to restructure its business in the backdrop of the showing demands from automakers. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. India are facing Australia in the first semi-final of Champions Trophy in Dubai. Australia, led by Steve Smith, won the toss and chose to bat first. India topped their Group A campaign with 3-set wins, while Australia had a rain-affected campaign in the Champions Trophy. The ongoing semi-final carries significant weight, especially given India's desire for revenge after their 2023 World Cup final loss to Australia. In football, after playing 1-1 draw in regular time, Nottingham Forest beat Ipswich Town on penalties. Jack Taylor was the only person who failed to score from the spot. Matt Sells save edged the shootout 5-4 in Forest's favour to set up a quarter-final clash against Brighton. In tennis, in a thrilling conclusion to the 2025 Battle of Legends, men's world number 3 Carlos Alcaraz defeated Francis Tiafoe in Puerto Rico. Alcaraz secured the victory 6-4, 3-6, 6-4. The event served as a prelude to the upcoming Indian Wells tournament. The Indian badminton mixed doubles pair of Tanisha Crasto and Dhruv Kapalia climbed to a career best ranking of world number 25. This comes after Crasto and Kapalia had a stellar run up till the semi-finals of German Open last week. In Formula One, British automotive designer Adrian Newey has officially started his new chapter at Aston Martin. The 66-year-old has joined a managing technical partner at Aston Martin following his exit from Red Bull last year. And finally, from the world of showbiz, the 97th Academy Awards drew 18.1 million viewers on ABC. This marks a 7% decline from last year's 19.5 million. This drop ends a 3-year streak of increasing viewership since the Oscars hit a record low in 2021. Despite the decline, the ceremony remained the most watched primetime entertainment event of the 2024-25 TV season. Zoe Saldana addressed criticism after winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for Emilia Perez, a film that some Mexican viewers found offensive. Saldana responded with an apology, clarifying that the movie was not intended to misrepresent or offend, but to tell a universal story about women's struggles. She emphasized that the film's themes could apply to women from any background. Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars have made history with their duet Die With a Smile. The song has officially surpassed 2 billion streams on Spotify. This makes it the fastest song ever to hit this milestone. The emotional soft rock ballad released in August 2024 resonated deeply with the audiences. The track's success also translated to award recognition. Tate McRae is celebrating a career milestone. Her latest album, So Close to What, debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. This is her first time reaching the top spot. The Canadian pop star took to social media to share her excitement and disbelief, posting a screenshot of a Billboard article with a series of question marks and exclamations. Jay-Z has filed a defamation lawsuit against attorney Tony Busby, David Fortney, and an anonymous woman. This is over previously dismissed sexual assault allegations. The lawsuit filed in Alabama follows Jane Doe's decision to drop her case against Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs on February 14th. Jay-Z claims the accusations were malicious and strategically timed to inflict harm. Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown took to Instagram to call out for media for dissecting her face and body. She labeled it bullying. The actor, who entered the industry at 10 years old, criticized articles questioning her changing appearance and accused writers of failing to acknowledge her natural growth. Brown vowed to stand against such treatment and not be shamed into silence. Horror fans in India will soon get to experience The Monkey. It is the latest adaptation of Stephen King's short story. It is set to hit theatres on March 7. The chilling story follows twin brothers who discover an eerie wind-up monkey that triggers a series of unexplained and tragic deaths. Years later, the toy resurfaces, forcing them to confront the horrors of their past. Abbott Elementary fans are in for a treat. This is after Sheryl Lee Ralph hinted at a major guest star set to appear in show's upcoming season finale. Ralph remained tight-lipped about the celebrity's identity, but gave fans a clue, saying, and I quote, "They are female and I can't tell you anything, but I am living my life like it's golden," end quote. Fans guess it could reference Jill Scott, whose song Golden is a well-known hit. With the live-action Snow White remake set for March 21 release, Disney has launched 2 new collector's edition dolls in collaboration with Mattel. Unveiled at the New York Toy Fair, the 12-inch dolls feature Snow White in her signature yellow satin skirt. It comes with a modernized puff-sleeve blouse. The limited edition release is part of Disney's merchandising push ahead of the film starring Rachel Zegler. And finally, The Handmaid's Tale sequel, The Testaments, has cast Lucy Holiday as Daisy. The series follows Daisy, who navigates a world 15 years after the original show. Meanwhile, The Handmaid's Tale will conclude with its 6th and final season on Hulu this April. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Garland, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.